The caucasity of a white man sitting on a podcast with three black hosts and feeling comfortable talking about the internal fighting within the black community, the hating, all of this, while you are best friends with someone who has a history of hating and talking down about black women in his music. When you all say tearing down another black person, y'all are only talking about men, and the men that y'all are often defending are pretty much abusers. Let's talk about it.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck
on. What's going on, you all? This clip from this interview that Michael Rubin had with the Breakfast Club, I'm glad that black folks are sounding off and going off. And shout out to Schoolboy Q who called him out. Like, it should be so many black rappers coming out and like dragging and dogging him out that he should be going into hiding like Drake did. Like, the nerve, the caucasity of this white man sitting on this podcast with three black hosts and talking about he doesn't like to see black folks tear each other down. Like, you are friends with Drake, a man who has no problem doing that to other black folks, has no issue supporting a black man who was accused and convicted of doing harm to another black woman. When y'all talk about like tearing black folks down or whatever, y'all only mean like black men. And I'm glad it's like tearing another black man. I'm glad that y'all are saying that, because if that was the case, if you truly cared about black on black, whatever, you'll be having a conversation about Drake and his stuff and the things that he has done. You do not care. Like, y'all don't care. And the fact that he felt comfortable sitting on this podcast with these weakest link of black men. Like, when we say y'all are the weakest link, this is what we talking about. Like, I just saw a video of these black men trying to get into this frat party in Kennesaw, Georgia.
The guy threatened to get shot up. Might call the police. Got out of my house.
The primary reason for them going in the frat party was to find some quote unquote snow bunnies. And the white man realized that, the white guy who was throwing the party realized and kicked them out and called them out their name, called them the word. And they waited till they got far away from the house in their shiesty, they put shiesty mask and started talking shit. Like, when I tell y'all are the weakest links, like, we can talk about it. We can talk about the internal fighting and whatever, because y'all don't really be doing anything to the actual folks who cause harm. Like, we can talk about that. We can have a conversation. But a white man should not be centering or even talking or even feeling comfortable talking about it. Specifically on a podcast like The Breakfast Club, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, like platform as far as like radio, podcasts, and all that for black folks. Like, you can't be serious. This is why The Breakfast Club is losing their cultural relevance. Like, this is why folks are not taking them serious, because you had Charlemagne sit in this clip and say, oh no, I want you to say it again. And I don't know if Charlemagne was saying that to be messy, to get him to talk, because he knew it was going to be some mess later on. But I feel like Charlemagne thought these things. And when I think about that, I think about Michael Rubin and what he said is the things that he has learned about black culture. He's learned this black culture stuff. Where is he learning it from? Where is he learned? He's learned it from the black folks that he's hanging out with. And he's not hanging out with ordinary black folks. He's hanging out with black folks who are in the industry. He's hanging out with black folks who have influence, who are artists, all these things, like the top folks. He's not hanging out with regular people. He's hanging out with the top folks. So if he's comfortable saying this, that means that these black artists and stuff that we be rooting for, the ones who have no problem taking our black coins and all the other stuff and have no problem like having these beefs and all the other stuff and to like, because the record executives told them that it makes money. Shout out to FD Signifier for his hours of like 2-3 hour video about Drake and Kendrick Lamar and the state of hip hop and all that. Like, I need to finish it. If you have not, child, it is, FD did his thing with that. It's the reason why that video is sitting at 1 million views. And I feel like this is relevant to this because Michael Rubin is just not no ordinary person. He's known, like, he throws these parties that a lot of black folks want, like black folks in the industry want to be a part of. They want to be in the rooms with him. They want to feel connected. They want to feel important. And they're sitting in this room with him and they're having these conversations and he feels comfortable talking about this. Like, there is no way in hell a white man should feel comfortable in any type of capacity having a conversation like this. Even though he said I might get some flack for it, it wasn't enough. Like, he realized that it's something that you don't say, but he's having those conversations with black folks. He's listening to black folks. He ain't just come up with that out of nowhere. Like, he's white, yes, but he felt comfortable and empowered saying that in a room with other black folks because he's surrounded by black folks who are having these conversations. And I need y'all to think about that. I really need y'all to think about that, because what does that say about all the folks that we support and we consume their music, their artistry, all these things? And these are the things that y'all are like surrounding yourselves with. Like, you're surrounding yourself with a white man who thinks like this. You're surrounding yourself. Y'all are breaking doors down to get into his parties and stuff. And this is what he's saying. Like, this is the conversation that he's having out loud. Like, he has no issue saying it. And what gets me is that, like, you know, yes, he has apologized and whatever. And shout out to, again, to Schoolboy Q who has called this out and was like, you know, this ain't nothing you should be talking about. Michael Rubin's phone should have been blowing up. It should have been public call outs, but they're not going to do that because they want access. They want access. They're not going to call out a white man for obvious wrong, something very easy. And it seems like that, you know, he will take it in, but they don't want to piss him off because they want access. The more we realize that some of these celebrities who we want to believe are these whatever, they are willing to sacrifice themselves and a little piece of themselves to be in certain rooms around certain people. They have to. They have to conform. Like, there's no way. Like, they're taking these idiotic stances, these ideologies that make absolutely no sense. There's no such thing as no black and black, whatever. The fact that we sit here talking about black folks and, you know, internal fighting and all the other stuff, like, when we are living on a land that white people committed to literal genocide to have this land. They literally took this land. Like, the violence that non-melanated people have done on this earth, you can never tell me anything about any type of fighting within community. Like, y'all can't tell me shit. And that stuff is so ingrained in us. Like, it's so socialized that we don't even think about it. A lot of us don't even think about it. So every time you think, oh, like, it's a lot of fighting, it's like, why y'all so whatever, y'all reinforce these anti-black ideologies. Every time y'all do it. Every time. We can have a conversation about several things, why things are happening. But a lot of y'all are just stopping at black folks fighting. Not understanding why black folks are fighting, why communities are infighting, because of struggle, because of capitalism, because of struggle again, being put in a situation to have to survive. Like, nobody wants to go to just that. Like, it's just, oh, y'all fighting, y'all too aggressive and all this other stuff, and not really trying to understand where's all this coming from. Like, because anti-blackness is fine. Like, anti-blackness is fine. We just, oh, because they black. And him saying this, like, what is like extremely messed up is Michael Rubin saying this when Drake has literally mentioned Megan Thee Stallion, has supported someone who has harmed her in several ways and has made it his point to demonize her, bring her up, Rihanna as well, and Serena and other black women I can't even think of right now. Like, Drake is that person who has done that several times, and you don't see it. And you know why you don't see it? Because you don't see it because they are women. Like, you don't see it. You want to talk about like infighting. Like, you are talking about this when Drake had no problem eradicating Meek Mill. Like, he had no problem like dragging Meek Mill all the way out. And I guarantee you, had this beef went an opposite way and Drake was on top and he was doing his thing, y'all would have had no issue playing the music. Y'all had no problem with Drake sounding off and stuff. I'm pretty sure we can find songs of like Drake being played at this mansion where he's talking down about other folks. Like, you would have had no issue. Like, and it just once again reminds us, like, girl, like how centered Drake is to whiteness. Like, you got a white man on here talking about black on black crime and defending you. Like, it's happening by design. Like, they feel safe and they feel comfortable around Drake because they hold some of the same ideologies. Like, you decide, oh, I'm not going to play this music, da-da-da. Like, you could just say, you know what? Drake is my friend. And he did say a little bit of, Drake is my friend. I'm just not going to play no music. I'm just not going to bring it up, da-da-da-da. But to end with this, like, infighting, it just makes absolutely no sense. Just say what you say. You have the power to sit up here and protect your friend from a song. If Drake was a grown man and he was that girl or whatever, and he didn't feel nothing, like he's trying to pretend on social media all the time, he wouldn't have no issue with the song playing. The song is only like 3-4 minutes long. Let the song play. Like, what's going on? Like y'all are coddling the fuck out of him. Y'all are coddling him down. Like, you need to protect him from what? Protect him from what? Now the black on black crime that y'all sitting here spouting when Drake was one of the people that was doing the same thing. Like, what? Like, y'all can't make this up. Like, and Charlemagne is a joke. Charlemagne, you are a joke, to be honest. And I had a lot of respect for Charlemagne, like, when I first was like starting like doing these things and stuff, and like trying to get into like, you know, creating content and podcasts and stuff. And I looked up to Charlemagne, but to see Charlemagne like basically affirm this white man and saying it's like black on black crime, it's like, it's just, y'all want to be these like people who are all positive and all loving and all this stuff, and it's just like, y'all don't understand the harm that y'all do with like trying to enforce that. Like, the harm that y'all are doing, that you are siding with a white man. It's not even necessarily about siding with this white man. It's the inappropriate conversations of this white man talking about black on black crime, when he needs to be talking about all the whiteness and stuff that has terrorized and destroyed so many people on this earth, and continuing doing that now. Like, you can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Like, if you're truly concerned about these things, then you need to be tapping next door. Matter of fact, I was at the tire shop last week or a week or so, and this white man was trying to talk about Trump next to me at the tire shop. Was talking about, well, it's politics. I got up and left. Like, I got up and walked clean out in mid-conversation. I am not going to entertain. I'm not going to be talking about politics with no white man with no ideas like that. Like, I'm just not going to be doing it. Like, girl, like, white people feel very comfortable. Like, they feel very comfortable. And I'm very happy in being in spaces where I make them feel uncomfortable, period. Matter of fact, I drove by somewhere in Kirkwood, and I was pulling up, and these white gentrifiers out in Kirkwood, like, girl, they do not like that black folks are still living in this area that they have heavily gentrified. Like, they're shook that I'm out here living with them. Like, they're shook by it. But Michael Rubin, I'm glad that he has apologized, but it's not enough, because I want to know who he's been sitting around having these conversations with, and why he felt so emboldened to have this conversation on a platform like the Breakfast Club. I need folks to think about that and let me know how you feel in the comments. That's all I got. Talk to you later. Bye.